About 10 years ago, my mate was driving me around in his car. He was a fresh P-plater. We felt on top of the world, and he was playing this album called Day of the Dog. And it was at a time when I was like really heavily influenced by and listening mainly to hip hop from America and just starting to dabble with some more Aussie stuff. And this was like the perfect blend of the straight up flavor of the hip hop I'd discovered from the States mixed with the familiar homegrown attitude of the Aussie hip hop that was really beginning to explode at the time. Yes, I'm talking about Bliss N Eso, and they've now released 6 albums since their first one dropped back in 2004. They've absolutely cemented their place as some of the most important names in Australian hip hop. And the thing about Bliss N Eso is they don't just make ridiculously good sounding music to pump in your car. They don't just win ARIA awards or release platinum and gold records. They use their music to speak to real issues, both on a global and a personal level. And we are so excited to have these legends with us on Rhyme and Reason, the show where we dig deep into the life stories of influential artists and the songs that have helped them live to tell them. I'm here in the studio with Eso, and it's an incredible honour. I'm fanboying out, but how you going today, man?
I'm good, brother. I'm good. Very, very nice to meet you, my man.
Oh, it is such a pleasure. So you guys have done so much for Australian hip-hop, and you've put out so much incredible music, but I just want to start by going back in time. Before you guys even met, before you put out any music, before there was any awards. Tell us a little bit about what life was like growing up for you.
Well, living in Australia in 1985, when I was 5 years old, there's no hip-hop around.
No.
Where am I going to find it? And the, local news agency, grocery store / video store, those dodgy ones where there's like 5 VHS videos for rental and that's it. Literally, I was living in the Blue Mountains and I'd go down to this store and I'd rent Star Wars and breaking.
Oh, come on.
So I wanted to be the Jedi, bringing balance to the galaxy. But then I also, fell in love with this style of dancing and this music. I knew breakdancing was, they would breakdance, but I didn't know it was hip hop music. And so I fell in love with these 2 movies. So I wanted to be a Jedi and I wanted to be a breakdancer. And in the movie Breakdancing, there's a main character called Ozone.
Yes.
And so Luke Skywalker, Ozone, they're my idols. So I'm 5 years old and my dad says to me, we're going for a trip to Los Angeles.
Right.
And I said, okay, cool. So I go to my mum and I say, where does Ozone live?
Uh-huh.
And that's like calling Tom Cruise Ethan Hunt. It's not really his name. I don't look at the credits at the end of the movie to go, oh, that's Ozone's real name. And she goes, oh, he lives in Hollywood.
Uh-huh.
Could have lived in New York, Idaho, anywhere. But, that's where all the stars live. So then I go back to my dad and I'm like, look, can you give me $1 American to give to Ozone when I get there? Because I want to save the youth centre. Because in the movie, the government or the council are trying to bulldozer the youth centre to build a mall. Uh-huh. So they're trying to collect money. And I thought the movie was real. So my dad doesn't want to break my heart and be like, oh, it's just a movie, you don't need it. So he just gives me the $1 American. He goes, there you go.
Yeah.
So in my mind, I'm like, okay, cool. Going to go over to Hollywood. Going to meet Ozone, give him it. It's going to be sweet. So we're over there. 2 weeks pass. There's no Ozone. I'm not yelling, I'm not going, where's Ozone,
Yeah.
And we're on Melrose Avenue on like the last day of being there. And there's a car accident on the side. And there's 2 dudes looking at the car accident. One of them's Ozone. So
Are you serious?
My dad stops the car. My mum goes, holy shit. It's... and I'm outside the car by then. My mum's jumped out.
Yep.
My dad's trying to find a park. I go running up to him. Ozone. I just grab him. He takes me to his restaurant. He takes me for a ride in his Jag.
What?
He signs these pics for me, like 2 Max, Be Cool, Shabadoo, which is his real name.
Yeah.
And I walked away from it like, what's for dinner? And my parents were just shaking. They're like,
Did you give him the $1?
Oh, I gave him the
save
dollar.
the youth
I
centre?
don't look to tell you the truth. I think that all just. I don't know whether I actually gave him the $1 because I was so just amazed at meeting him, and so literally from that point on, I knew that there in a young child where you have no doubt, you're not, if I'm going over there, I'm going to meet him. That's what's happening. No doubt or anything. And as you become older, doubt gets sprinkled in all types of places. You go try out for the basketball team. Coach says, you're too short. Throws a bit of doubt on you. Do you know what I mean? And it just puts you down and you've got to keep fighting through that. So from that point on, my mum used to teach me, okay, whatever you want, I want you to write it down on a piece of paper, and then I want you to put it in the freezer. And I was like, why would I put it in the freezer? And she's like, to keep the thoughts fresh, mate. I'm like, of course, that makes sense to me. And
Awesome.
if I could get the first bit of paper that went into the fridge, into the freezer, it was, you know, to create a hip hop band, to have a fan, not thousands, to have a fan, and to do a show where someone comes, not 20,000 people. You know, and so from that Ozone moment, and then when I, you know, had met Jonathan at Bliss in high school, I had told him that, and he was amazed by that story, and we got onto this whole tip of like the power of the mind and being able to just concentrate so hard on what you want and what you believe and not letting anything else come in, like just blinders on what you want. You can do it. You know, it's not as easy as that. It's not like, you know, oh, I want a Ferrari and it pops out of the sky. You know, you think, okay, how do I get a Ferrari? A Ferrari costs this much. I need to work this much to get. It's not a magic trick. And then, when we met in high school, me and Bliss, he kind of tricked me into the whole thing.
Right.
Okay, because the whole school was very rock and roll. You know, if there was someone listening to hip hop, it was maybe Beastie Boys, Cypress Hill, but alternative. And so he came up to me and he's like, oh, you like hip hop? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, oh, I can rap. And I'm like, okay, go on, bust it out. And he busts out a CNC Music Factory verse that I had never heard before. So I thought it was real. So he's on, something and a beat to come on, rock hard, which ain't on. I'm looking at him going, oh my God. So he bullshitted me into thinking he could rap. And so, you know, by this weird force, I'm kind of going over to this strange guy's house in the afternoons, and, you know, we've got this love for hip hop, obviously because he was from the States, and, you know, it's just kind of saturated over there. So he got a hold of it over there, and then when he came over to Australia, he was kind of like met, you know, the only other person that was into it. And
you must have been like such a breath of fresh air for him. I mean, how did he find out? Like, were you very public about your you know, love of breaking and hip hop and, you know?
I think so, yeah. I mean, amongst my other friends, I would always, you know, play that in my Walkman and stuff like that, and I think he got a, you know, word of it. But then it was just this kind of strange, you know, magic force that was kind of bringing us together. And I mean, this is before YouTube. This is before, you know, social media.
This is where the Jedi stuff comes into it, right?
That's right.
This is your life became Star
That's
Wars
right. And you've got to figure it out for yourself. So we don't know, do you make the beat first? Do you write the lyrics first? You know, I would love to just ask RZA, how you guys doing it over there? There was no connection like there is. So we had to work it out all for ourselves. So we literally had, you know, one stereo here, and you could put in a blank cassette tape, and then you could push play and record, and you could speak into the speaker and it would record it. So on this side, we'd have a stereo with a cassette tape of the instrumental beat. So push play, record, play, it's recording the beat, and you just rap over the beat. And if you want to do doubles, you got to do it. It was primitive caveman stuff that we were working out by ourselves, you know? And, you know, at one point there, we thought we were the only ones doing it in Australia. And I think it was maybe a documentary we saw on SBS. And it was showing, like, Death Wish Cast, MC Trey, Funnel Web Crew. And we're like, oh, wow, there is, like, this kind of underground scene here, very underground, that kind of made us feel like, wow, we are not alone here. We're kind of part of something that's very at its birth state. But we knew it had, you know, talent and power.
It's interesting, man, because a lot of people that we've interviewed for this show, you know, we've talked to some old school hip hop heads, and it's often through something like breaking. It's often through one of the other kind of elements of hip hop. Exactly. And then they discover they make their way through the avenue towards MCing. Which is one of the things that maybe is a little bit lost today. But all of that being wrapped up together, and you're really, like you said, you're pioneering. You know, you have to be resourceful. Press the play and record button at the same time, and put out your lino on the street and try to do a head spin.
That's it, man.
Man, it's awesome. Would people be surprised to know about some of the hurdles that you've had to overcome to get from there to where you are? I mean, some people might look and just go like, "Oh, look, you met in high school, you're both MCs, and look at you now."
Yeah.
What are some of the
of
things?
course.
You
Oh
know?
man, behind the curtains of, I'm sure every group is, there is the, picture that every band likes to put up of what it is that they want the public to think of them.
Yeah.
But behind the curtains, mate, I mean, what was it, Fleetwood Mac? Everyone was fucking each other, and it was terrible stuff going on. But the music was great, and everyone was loving it.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that's going on behind closed doors here at Bliss N Eso, but what I'm saying is that, that bloody Fleetwood Mac story just kind of threw me off there. Where were we?
That's cool. So maybe just, I guess the question is, would people be surprised to know about
Yes.
some of the obstacles that you've had to overcome?
Yes. Because it all looks like, everything's cheerio. But the thing about the music industry is, if you come into it with any demons or addictions, they're going to fuel it 10 times.
Right.
If you like drinking, whoa, man, they're going to have 5 bottles of vodka, 6 cases, and that's every night. You can't physically take that in as a human.
Yeah.
So, it's fueled with, giving you your addictions. And this country being a very big drinking country, I fell victim to that horribly. And I think it was in 2004 when we actually put out Flowers on the Pavement. That's when, my mother had just passed away with cancer. So, all I had was this music thing going forward, and the alcohol was just numb it. I don't want to know about that. I've got to just keep doing this. So then I'm suppressing grief that I'm supposed to be having, and it's just more shows going on, more shows, and after a while, it was like 10 years down the track, and it was just out of control, because everywhere you perform, it's a party. It's a festival. Everyone wants to celebrate and rage and go hard every night, and you just can't possibly do that as the artist.
So people are probably looking. A lot of people probably think, when I get famous or when I get successful or when this thing becomes easy, it's going to fix all my problems. And really, what you found is actually it magnifies those things that maybe were there in a small way.
Absolutely.
Man, that's huge. So I wonder in that, obviously there's like all this stuff around the industry and that party culture and things being freely accessible.
Yes.
For you, was music like a healing and positive part of that journey?
Absolutely.
How did music help you through some of that other stuff?
Music was the one thing that helped me through it. When you have, see, hip-hop is such a thing of, look at me, look how cool I am, look how awesome I'm doing. And over the years, I've found that the artists that I gravitate towards are more of the, vulnerable people that are talking about the human condition and how it feels to be a human, and not all these outside kind of materialistic things of life. And I also didn't, look, so to really home in on that, yes, I had this drinking problem and it went on for 10 years, and I thought to myself, that's just a wall too big. I don't want to climb it. It's so easy just to keep drinking because everyone else is, and it's just the thing that's going, it's the cool thing in Australia. And it wasn't until we were asked to go and play for the troops in Afghanistan, that's when I went, oh, I don't know if I want to do that because it's all dry over there. So there's no way I can get alcohol. And I can tell that my management and the boys are almost, without trying to intervention or try and say, hey, you need to do this. It was like, remember, you didn't want to go to South Africa for the whole bullet and a target experience. And you look back on that and go, if I didn't do that, I would regret that something huge, because that was a huge, changing point as well.
Incredible song, by the way, and one that for me, those stories that you just have talked to, the fact that you guys would do those kind of trips, is one of the things that has always drawn me to your music. And what you were saying before about you're drawn to people that are vulnerable and authentic, willing to be confronted by things and then share that with your music. That's what I've always loved about you guys. So jump back into your story.
No, well, that's so when we were in Africa doing that song, you know, we had the choir. And we were over there, but I didn't want to write any lyrics about the situation over there without being over there and like really feeling it and not taking it from a outside watching a doco on it kind of perspective. And it took about 4 days of us of, you know, doing bread drops off at orphanages and, you know, going and speaking to the street kids, you know, on the bottom level. And it was only 4 days of that where it was just so emotional, and it was just like, we need to write this here. So we would take, like, after we'd be, you know, doing workshops with the orphanage, we'd be using different areas of the orphanage to go and put the beat on and write these rhymes. And then Bliss is like, well, we've got to do a film clip for it here. And I said, well, that means all the verses have got to be recorded. He's like, well, we've got a microphone and So we wrote the lyrics at the orphanage. Then back at our little mud hut that night, we had a little microphone, laptop out. I remember I was in my boxers, mate, like 3 a.m, just busting out recording these rhymes so that the next day we could literally go guerrilla shooting all through South Africa and do these lyrics.
And it comes through, man. I mean, it's so authentic and real and connected. You know, that song doesn't feel like you went in as tourists, saw a couple of things, came back out and wrote. It doesn't feel like that.
That's right. So I mean, that was an awesome experience for all 3 of us as a band. But because of that, the boys were kind of like, remember how you didn't want to go on that trip, and, you know, looking back on that, you would regret not going on it. Imagine that this Afghanistan trip is the same thing. You don't know. So I was like, okay, let's do this. Let's go to Afghanistan. The closest I want to be to the bloody war is Call of Duty on my couch, but let's go there if you want to go there. Because I'm, you know, in the back of my head, we have fans that are over there. And if I was over there doing what I had to do and I was a fan of Bliss N Eso and they were going to come to one of the bases and perform just for that afternoon so you don't have to think about what's going on in your life war-wise over there or anything, and you can just focus on celebrating with some good music, with some guys from your own country that have come over, you know, to a pretty dangerous bloody place to bloody rock a show. You know, we're on the back of these bloody army trucks, you know, as one stage, but it's 3 trucks, so every time we go to a different area, the trucks are going up and down. And
far out.
And so, that's when I started weaning off the alcohol. But the thing was, I wasn't alone at home just trying to kick alcohol, where I don't have anything else to do and I've got all different things to think of. I was going into Hercules planes, I was putting on bulletproof vests, I was, you know, sweating my ass off. Every 4 steps you had to get bottles of water because it was so hot. So my mind's occupied on all these other things. And I think it was like maybe the 4th day there and no alcohol. I can feel it starting to affect me. And I'm having dreams, mate. I'm having very scary dreams. I'm waking up out of the base. I'm running out of the front. There'll be a 60 Minutes journalist just sitting there with a cigarette. He's like, I was waiting for you. It was like he was an angel waiting for me to talk to me when I needed it the most. I ran out of this base just, and he calmed me down and he said, you know, you're on a journey right now, and these are the turning points for you, where you could either just go back or you can just keep going forward. And, you know, he's like, the dreams, you know, is going to get hectic. And so I was like, okay, so with 7 days over there, I'm not drinking. My body is now saying, this is good. This is good. Do not put it in because we can feel the change. But I'm not going from Afghanistan back to Australia. I'm going from Afghanistan with the boys to start a Canadian tour. So we fly from Afghanistan to Canada, and that first day there, I buy a beer and I took a sip of it, Asahi. I was like, no, and my body is saying, get up. No, mate, don't put that in. We're just on the turning point here. And so I was like, oh my God. And that's when I said to DJ Ism, I was like, I've got to do it. I've got to cut it right now. He's like, you can't go to rehab or anything or somewhere. We're on tour. You got a show tonight. And I was like, that's the best thing then. Just keep me occupied, you know? So those first days in Canada were horrific. I'm talking crazy withdrawals. You know, we might be driving on the freeway in our tour bus, and all of a sudden, you know, weird things were setting it off. Like I'd have a little bit of chocolate or something, like dairy, and all of a sudden I need to be in a hotel room, in a bath, hot, cold. Now DJ-ism, bless you, brother. God, bless DJ-ism something wicked, because he was there with a finger under my nose and a wet towel, like 24/7, like sitting there until 6 a.m. just making sure I was okay. And you know, after 4 days, the withdrawals started getting very, very crazy. And this is the thing, I started doing research on it. Out of all the drugs out there, apparently just to go cold turkey off alcohol is one of the most dangerous things to do. Your body can, all different organs can shut down. And so I'm shitting myself. You know, Ism's on the phone to like professional people back in Australia going, okay, well, he's doing this now. And now he's seeing things. Now he's seeing some glow flyer kind of action. And they're like, he's seeing things, call the doctor. Right. So like ambulance comes up in the hotel room, grabs me. I'm in a gurney going down bloody escalator, you know, the elevator. Wow. They take me to the hospital. There's crazy people in the hospital. I'm in this gown with my ass hanging out the back. What the fuck is going on? DJ-ism's there with me. We're in Vancouver, and we're in a very kind of rainbow neighborhood. You know what I mean? So we go in. The doctor's like, okay, you can come in now. And he's like, to DJ-ism, he's like, no, you can't come in. And DJ-ism's like, oi, that's my man right there. And grabs my hand. And he's like, oh, okay, sorry, sir. So we both came in, we were holding each other's hands. He's showing me, you know, things on bloody, because I don't like needles, so I'm getting the drip, and he's showing me stuff on bloody phones. And he's just amazing. He was amazing. So I'm going from there straight onto stage, still with the, you know, the hospital tag on. And, you know, directly from the show, I've got to go to the bus, and I can't be in front of people. I can't be in front of the crowd that wants to party. People are outside the bus going, where's the psycho? Where's the guy who wants to party? And I'm just like, oh. So eventually, I mean, it just kept going, man. Every town we go to, I'd have to go to the next hospital. The bus driver was like, what does he need? Yeah. You know, so we pulled over. Next thing I know, they bought a PlayStation 4. They got the brand new Grand Theft Auto. Boom! I'm in the back just going hard, you know, and my mind had to be somewhere else. Yeah. So to cut the story short, you know, I kicked it. So by 10 days into that tour, I was sweet. And then, you know, after 3 weeks of that tour, I was totally clean. And that's when I flew my girlfriend from Sydney to Las Vegas. So the end of the Canadian tour, we all went to Las Vegas. She's there. We get married at the little white chapel where Michael Jordan and Frank Sinatra did. We go off into the distance, into the sunset on four-wheeler bikes, just screaming, life is the best. Man. And so that was the ending of my tackle on alcohol, which is, you know...
What an incredible story, man. And you captured some of that story. You shared that with us, the same as we're talking about the bullet and a target experience. You gave your experience to us, and you did that with Devil on My Shoulder.
That's right.
And it's so cool to hear you actually, you know, you see this in the lyrics of the song, you see the story that you're telling, but to kind of get the magnified version is...
That's it.
Amazing, man. But, you know... when did you write the song? Was this looking back at that time?
That's
significantly later? Tell us a little bit about how the song came about.
So after we had done that Canadian tour and I was clean of the alcohol, finally out of my system, and let me just tell you, it is sunny on the other side. It's so sunny on the other side. Yeah. You don't think it is? It's amazing. It's just bonuses and bonuses and bonuses afterwards. I can't tell you. Like, for instance, when I started doing live shows after that, the guy who's been doing my sound for years, he came up to me afterwards. He was like, what's this new weapon you've got? What is this? And I said, I don't know what you're talking about. He's like, mate, when you used to rap, I used to have to hold that knob and, oh, God, here he goes. He's going to start screaming. Turn it down, turn it down. Oh, no, he's drunk mumbling again. We're going to have to turn him back up. So it was this constant having to work with, you know. Yeah. And then without, you know, the alcohol, I was just...
on fire.
And bonuses everywhere. You know, my life as a husband with my wife is much better because drinking, mate, You know what it is. At the end of the night, you're going to have an argument. If it's whether all you're sitting with your mates, that's probably the best. When you're just sitting with some mates and you can all talk some shit to each other. And you're all, yeah. But not when you're with your missus or da-da-da-da. So, sorry, I kind of lost where I was.
Oh, man.
Oh,
no.
yeah, so Devil. The actually sitting down and going, okay, we want to write a song about this. Because that was our attempt. In going into Off the Grid, it was like, people know Bliss N Eso, you know, but they don't know Jonathan and Max. And, you know, this was the most, personal song we had ever written. And I didn't want to write it with a, I had this problem and I did it, and yeah, look at me now. Like, it was, and I didn't want to be some kind of, here's the guy preaching on how to get off alcohol. It's like, I'm going to put my story down, and however it affects people, then that's how it affects them. And I knew if I was true to myself in writing it, it would affect the people in the right way, especially people that are going through addictions or certain demons they might have in their life.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, it was. You know, instead of writing about space and stars and, you know, punchlines, it was all about me. And yeah, it's like telling you the story. It's a much bigger story to it with Afghanistan and everything.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to kind of home in on exactly what it was I was going through, and to show the vulnerable side.
Yeah.
I guess the moment in the song where it's kind of the hero moment is me, you know, blowing the devil off my shoulder. Who's the clever cunt?
Yeah.
You know, because then it's my people who love me, you know, for the weird psychoness, they can hear me in that.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, it was definitely one of the kind of, not toughest, but I took my time with it. And you know, Bliss and myself, with Off the Grid, we really, like I was saying before, we were gravitating towards artists that were just brutally honest and being very vulnerable. And I think that's what we really wanted to show the people, that, you know, there's not this VIP room with stars everywhere where we're all awesome all the time. It's just not real. So,
well, it's powerful, man. And I mean, I love the lyrics. I love the lines. You know, the music industry is a constant celebration, caught up, but we don't see the hell we're facing, and the flames only grow once your name's getting known.
Yes.
And that's important stuff for people to know, right? To actually hear you honestly say, hey, look, behind the curtain.
Yes.
This is the reality.
Yeah.
And then I love a couple lines later, you say, you wanted the right route, but nobody showed you.
Yes.
And I think, in a sense, by putting the song out there, even by sharing today as honestly as you have, you're now showing others.
Yes.
You're now doing what no one did that for you. You had to figure it out. You had to go through that hectic experience.
Yeah.
But what would you say to others listening who are in that in-between spot where they could go either way? You kind of said there's that moment where it's like, do I push forward?
Yeah.
It's going to get worse before it gets better. What would you say to anyone who's sitting there?
Look, I got to say that it wasn't a solo mission by myself. I needed support. I didn't make that decision to go to Afghanistan and try and do that by myself. If it was my decision, I probably would have just kept wanting to be in the same way. So I think it's very important to talk to people, talk to your friends, talk to your family about it. You don't want to keep any of these addictions or demons hidden inside yourself. And then once you start talking to people, you'll find that helps. And then to get past the denial that you've even got a problem, to just kind of face it. And to know that it really is, it's a mind game. Because I remember when I'd say to myself, okay, you're going to stop drinking. And then that afternoon would come and the mind somehow tricks itself and goes, no, don't worry about that, we'll have the drink. So it really is, as much as it is a physical thing of having to not, do or getting involved with the addictions, it's a mind thing as well. You've got to stay strong in the mind and, it's a tough one. I know it's not easy. And if it was easy, everyone would just be able to clean their slates and fix their lives up. But I think, you've really got to find it in yourself that you have the power to be able to do it. Support is going to be great. and support is needed, but it really does come from you and the want to change. And
well, I noticed even in your lyrics, you know, it's the song speaks of family, right? You talk about your mother, and then you talk about doing it, you know, for your lady and your baby.
Yes.
And I think that's kind of part of the support as well. It's like you need people alongside you. Your DJ, what an incredible support.
Yes, exactly.
And you also got this motivation of, you know, this problem's not just about me.
Yeah.
Because I'm connected to others.
That's right. That's right. I wanted to be a good husband. I didn't want to be a drunk here and there. You know, and the hugest thing that we haven't really tapped in on is, you know, 3 years or 2 years after I got off the alcohol and got married and had this, you know, wonderful life with my wife, you know, we gave birth to a beautiful baby boy.
Congratulations,
and
man.
that right there, that really changed everything. Because everyone's such a kind of selfish, not in bad ways, but kind of selfish people, you know. We're always trying to figure out how we can benefit ourselves. And then when this little boy came along, not to mention the whole delivery, like, it's like watching The Exorcist with a Disney ending. You know, the head spinning and the vomits everywhere, and then da-da-da! And the strength in a woman, I couldn't believe it.
Incredible, hey?
I wanted to help. She's screaming, I want to help, I can't help. I'm on the happy gas though. Woo! And you know, the midwife was actually my wife's sister. So it was very kind of, you know, family in the room. And she's like, look, you're going to cut the cord. And I said, look, I can't cut the cord because I still don't understand how someone doesn't get hurt by that. And she's like, look, you're going to do it. Anyway, he started coming out, mate. And she went, get him. And I went, oh, no. Fingers underneath his armpits. Brought him right out, mate. Boom. Cut the cord. And we had a JBL speaker playing.
Yeah.
So the whole pregnancy, we just had like soul and funk, hip hop, instrumental beats playing. You know, so he would be delivered into a world of music. At one point, my missus was a little bit out of it and was like, can we put on some Drizzy? I went, no, there's no Drake. We're not having messages coming into this child's mind, especially not Drake's.
We made this amazing playlist when we gave birth to our first son. And well, my wife gave birth, you know, I was sort of just in the room.
Yes.
But we made this amazing playlist, and then all she wanted when we got in there was some CD playing Pachelbel's Cannons on repeat, and she's just like, do not change the music.
Don't change it.
I'm like, I'm not going to challenge you, but the playlist was way better. What's going to become of our child? You know, he didn't get entered into the world with hip hop and funk. It was, you know, just an old classical song, but that's cool.
I'm sure that won't affect him too.
Man, we're running out of time, but such an honor to hear from you. As we wrap up, I just wonder if you could share what's on the future for you guys. I mean, you've had an incredible career musically so far, and then it's amazing to hear how, you know, your personal life, you've been through some stuff, and you're probably in a better headspace than ever. So what's next for you guys?
Man, well, you know, obviously when I stopped the drinking and, you know, I got married and I became a father, I found the creative process, you know, because with Bliss N Eso, you know, we've got 3 guys. So you've all got to kind of agree on what the beat you're going to be working on and this, that, and the other. And with, you know, with my solo stuff, I was just able to kind of go wherever I wanted to go.
Sure.
And the thing about it is I was telling you before, it was like, you know, Bliss and I had been painting. You know, it was like kindergarten. You get the bib, you get the painting, the easel, and I hold his hand. He does 1 stroke, I do 1 stroke, and we make these pictures, which are songs, you know. And we've been doing them for so long, and I love it. But I just wanted to do a few little pictures over here, and then come right back. It was just more music for the fans, you know.
Sure.
And I want them to be able to know that, you know, we are a Trinity entity, and I am just going over here and making some more music for you, you know. So right at the moment, I've got my solo EP, my Astral Plane out, which feels so good to be able to get that off my chest. And right now we're working on a very special project, B&E wise, which I don't think I can give too much information about.
No worries. We'll keep our eyes
That's
open.
going to be awesome. So there's 2 kind of projects B&E's working on. There's this special one, but then there's our, I believe it'll be our 7th?
Yeah, wow.
Our 7th album. And we've got like, you know, 20 different songs for that with hooks, and it's again, it's just a whole new rebirth of style and charisma, and I really feel like this seventh one is gonna
Can't wait to hear it, man.
knock some heads.
Oh, amazing. Well, I just want to give you huge mad props from our family here at Musicians Making a Difference. We love you guys. We love what you're about. We love your honesty, and really love, like I was saying before, the example you're now setting for others.
Oh yeah.
And the example you're setting of being real, of being, you know what, I don't have everything together.
That's it.
But I'm working on it.
That's
and
it.
I'm moving forward.
That's
so.
it. And message to it. Okay, the chains, the gold, the houses. It's all bull. It's not real. You look at these film clips by these American. Every rapper in America's rich. And the pool party and the mansion and the Lamborghinis. And that rapper, after he's finished that film clip, is calling Uber to go home. They're all rented. It's a big facade. So let's not get caught up in that, because they're making us celebrate materialistic things that aren't real. Let's get back to what's real, mate. People, family, the earth. Oh, look, I could go on and on, but you know what I mean.
Oh, we love you, man. If you could wrap up in one sentence, I know it's going to be hard, but one sentence to any young people out there listening from Eso, from Bliss N Eso, what would it be?
From me to you, don't chase your dreams. Be your dream. Use everything around you to create your dream even bigger. For example, when Bliss was in university and he had different tasks that he had to do, he would use it on Bliss N Eso. So if there was a video element or something, he'd do a film clip. If there was an audio, he'd do something. So there's ways to be able to, keep what you love inside of things that you don't like. If you're not liking school at the moment, still go. They're trying to teach you things. But if you think that you want to rap and school's got nothing to do with it, no, they've got all kinds of different things. It's about taking it home. Say you're in science class or geography and you learn about the twister and something like that. Take that, put it in a rhyme, take it home. Anyway, all I would say is be your dream. Don't let anyone tell you can't do it, okay? It's really about just putting your all into it and believing in it so hard that you just make it happen. Speak it into existence. Don't let anyone put you down. Don't judge your journey with anyone else's, because you're on your own journey, your own special one. So I just say, keep it up and spirits high and love each other. And
awesome. Thank you so much, Eso. We love you.
Pleasure.
And we'll be looking out for that exciting new project in the future.
Too easy. Thank you very much, guys.
No props.
Pleasure being here.